Now
It'll
you
say
are
me
live to the world, and it says,
Hey.
says who will be here. It took like 30 seconds.
Where do I
to show
talk to
up.
people?
There's a delay. Hold on.
There's a
Which
delay.
way is the-
People have to get on it. The camera's right here.
Camera. Do
This
I
is
look
who's on
here?
it. That's
Should
who
give
people
me a
have
name.
So absolutely nobody
For now.
for
is
now.
watching.
It takes delay for messages to get
For
sent
now.
and show.
And of course, Jordan is eating. Here we go.
Usually there's like a 10-second video delay. So
There's one person. Hi, it's
Curtis,
You're back.
what's going on, buddy?
4 people are on now.
Dude, check it out. We get the supers here. Super Jordan, Super Trevor. Yeah,
Look, 7 people
Nice
already.
evening, sunset, funky air, hence
No
we're
flying.
on the ground, not flying over Mount Timpanogos.
Not yet.
But we got Mount Timpanogos up there. See, if you look over this way, you can see the mountains.
See, look at the
And wow, kind of crazy, but see if you look at the top of the trees up there. Look at the trees. Let's see. Can you see it? Trees are blowing from the north. It's blowing from the north. It's kind of crazy. And we were gonna do trikes today, but it's like nuking like 20-mile-an-hour winds, or it was. It looks calming down just a touch, but the yeah. Oh yeah. Is my arm supposed to be longer?
Well, you don't want it just to be the top of your face.
Just the eyeball. Look, there
Maybe
we
a
go.
little bit more than just the eyeball.
Okay. Focus. Okay, there we go. Cheers from Portland, Oregon. Nice. There you go. See what else we're live. Yep. I'm here. There we go.
You got
Super
12 people.
Curtis. Yeah. Awesome. So we totally got to go flying. This is the coolest thing because I can literally launch in my front yard, backyard, side yard, house roof. Done that. Been there, done that. House roof. Yep. And barn. I haven't launched from the barn roof yet, amazingly, but I have launched from the trailer. So from the top of the trailer. And
Dude, Temp looks
yep.
so good.
That's it. Yeah, you're not really getting a super shot at. Oh, there we go. That's a little better.
Well, just turn it around. Click that right there.
And it'll
That's
switch
it.
view.
There you go. Oh, is that the camera view?
That's the camera view.
And oh, that's way better. Yeah, that's tiny thing up on the top of that. There's like little teeny butte, but trying to land on top of a mountain is kind of crazy.
Bam. There you go.
Bingo, I'm back. Oh,
Try it again.
you walked away from the house Wi-Fi there.
Okay, click that and see if you can.
So, okay, so trying to land on the top of that mountain is elusive. Nobody's ever done it. It's never been done. Because it's like it's a peak. It would be just like landing on top of this fence. See, can you imagine landing on top of this fence rail at 40 miles an hour? Well, that's about what it would be like up there, except for if you missed here, you'd only fall 4 feet. If you missed there, you would fall 11,000 feet. Kind of crazy. Waiting for the broken arm to heal so I can go do some flying. Quit breaking your arm. There you go. So see the key, I want to go up there and land, but it's a trick because see when you have wind, the wind is going up the mountain and it produces so much lift you can't get down. And if you don't have wind, you're going so fast that it's like, you know, trying to land on a lamppost at 40 miles an hour. And so it's never been done. Very, very, very tricky to land up on top of that mountain. Now the one out in front of it, that's no problem, piece of cake, because there's like, you know, an area that's like 5x5, and landing on 5x5, piece of cake. But landing on top of a fence rail at 40 miles an hour, that is kind of a trick there. The super Wi-Fi tastes great. Less feeling. Have you ever considered racing in the Icarus? Icarus. So fly straight and level for a long time and pretend that's a race. That's not a...
For 1,200 miles.
That's-
That sounds so fun.
Dude, yay, yay. That'd be like getting in your Prius and putting it on cruise control at 30 miles an hour and driving across the country.
Dude, that sounds so
Yeah.
fun, honestly.
Yeah, so that's, yeah, Icarus really isn't a race. That's, you know, that's why competent people don't do that. It's kind of like a newbie thing, you know, to fly straight and level.
Turn around and face.
Once you get skills, see, then you want to go play and have some fun. It's about getting jiggy and, you know, doing the foot drags and wingtip drags. That's why you just don't see skilled people in the bogus
Woo,
Icarus
back
race.
on us again.
Not to mention the people who run it, well, not so exactly honest and stuff like that. So there we are. Right there, where we have launched many, many times. And we, of course, just trying out this YouTube live thing. The True Daz. So I've seen you land on a fence post. So what's the problem? Okay, so landing on a fence post is no problem. But remember, when I landed on the fence post, I was going like 6, 7, 8 miles an hour because I had quite a bit of wind. And so you have a lot of wind, so you can come in and slow the glider down to a complete stop. But if you had no wind, you would be landing on top of that pole at about 15 miles an hour at low altitude. And up at high altitude, you'd be trying to nail a post at 30 miles an hour. That's why nobody lands on top of a mountain peak in zero wind. And if you have wind, well, it's not a flat ground. It's a mountain, so the air is going up, which produces lift, which picks you up. So you're trying to come in and land, but the air is picking you up, and you literally can't get down. So it's kind of a catch-22. You'd have to kind of get the perfect day with the perfect size, like a 4XS Dominator. Although you'd probably be better off on a piece of crap than a Dominator, because the Dominator's so efficient it glides. So if you have wind and you have lift, it's hard for the Dominator to sink because the Dominator's so efficient. But if you flew like a total piece of crap, you might be able to sink better through the lifting air to get down to land on a fence pole. But kind of interesting thing. Anyway, I'm just kind of trying out live while we are sitting on the ground, which, and you fly over Salt Lake City, would make for some nice scenery. Yes, I've flown over Salt Lake City many times. I even flew down to the governor's house at his son's request. Kind of cool, but I was good friends with the governor's son, and so I flew down to the governor mansion in downtown Salt Lake and just about did a foot drag on the governor's mansion while they were all going, yeah, cool, boo-hoo. It was pretty cool. But that was a while ago. That was kind of before the GoPro thing, when it was really easy to hook up a GoPro. But that's an interesting question. You guys should come fly the oil fields in North Dakota. Heck yeah, that'd be freaking awesome. Dell, you have the most haters in this sport. Haters gonna hate. How safe to fly in the rain? Rain does not affect you. Yes. Well, it makes it pretty simple. Haters are great because people filled with hate are evil, and evil people cannot be trusted. They are dishonest, and they're just filled with hate and evil. So if you got haters, it makes it really simple that they have no value to offer, because people filled with hate don't offer value or logic or reason or fact. They deal in hate. That means they deal in lies and dishonesty and trash talking. So there you go. But how safe is it to fly in the rain? Perfectly safe. Just look up Paramotor rain gust front. One of my last videos, I don't know, a couple months ago, I flew in like a 35-mile-an-hour gust front rainstorm. Piece of cake is no problem. I mean, your glider will fly just as good wet as it will dry. The glider doesn't matter. So it's just like flying an airplane in the rain versus no rain. It's not going to hurt it. So doesn't matter. Yeah. The problem is lightning. You don't want to get struck by lightning. So flying in the rain, no worries. Flying in the lightning and thunderstorms, big problem. Yeah, don't be doing that. One guy actually got zapped and he died. Another lady got sucked up in a thunderstorm, which, dude, I totally want to do that. But there's a lady who made like 30,000 feet and she like passed out unconscious, and like the glider's like floating around and they have the whole track and everything. And then she like wakes up like right before she hits the ground or whatever and lives through it. But I totally got to try that. I want to get like my base jumping rig, and then go get sucked up in a thunderstorm, like way the heck up there, and then jump out, like, you know, if I start getting fearing for my safety, and then skydive down, and then pop the reserve, boom, fly in, land. Now that would be something I don't think's ever been done before. Totally got to try that. Hey, how do I pull up the chat?
This button right here.
Oh, I just hit the button.
Yep.
Yep.
Or just tap the screen.
For those of us that are a little afraid of heights.
Heights is not a
Something I
problem.
can overcome. Dell, would you recommend super training for those of us who are afraid of heights? Well, absolutely. Especially, I mean, if you're going to get into the sport, you got to get training. And there's only one school in the world that's really honestly teaching people true, real skills. And that is, of course, super training. So it would be the only option. People are generally not scared of heights. It's usually fear of falling. So you're scared that you're going to fall. But in a paraglider, you don't get a sinking feeling. It's not like going skydiving and like jumping out of an airplane where you feel like that sinking feeling. Paragliding is different. We just slowly float off the ground and slowly float back to the ground. And literally, if you shut off your engine and like passed out unconscious, you would come in and land about like jumping off a picnic table. So like the fastest you're gonna come down is about like jumping off a picnic table. Total non-issue. You only come down about 230 foot per minute on a Dominator, depending on the size and weight and blah, 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 lots of factors. But you're coming down so slowly, you just don't get that sinking feeling. So yeah, you'd be surprised. People really aren't scared.
I'm scared of heights. And I've never once been scared while flying, and I've flown all the way to 15,000 over Tim.
Yeah.
So it's not an issue.
Super, I mean, kind of everybody's scared of falling off of something, but Super Trevor's #2 pilot in the world, and he's scared of heights, so if he can do it.
But I'm never scared because I have something above me that I trust, I know how to control, and I'm not ever falling. I'm just sitting on something.
Yeah, you know, we gotta kind of make fun of you. I'm sorry, but stop being a wuss, dude. Grow a set. Okay. Maybe I can get that first responder discount for your class. Dude, we like first responders. You guys saved my butt many times. But from motorcycles, I have never once been injured in this sport.
Do some wing overs.
Knock on wood.
Hold the phone.
Do some wing overs. Here we go. Dude, I gotta go. We should go flying. Hey, it's calming down a little bit.
Yeah, I got a head though.
That'd be kind of ripping.
I'd be sweet.
Okay, there we
do it
go.
Tomorrow. Hey, we'll just say
that
this.
is kind of cool.
Everybody who wants to see Del fly tomorrow at sometime between
like 3.
Yeah, we're gonna go flying, and we're gonna have this phone attached to his comfort bar, so you can watch him fly the entire time, whether it has it face him or away from him. That's for him to decide. I don't know how well you're gonna be able to hear him. This is an experimental run, but it's gonna turn out pretty freaking cool.
You know, I wonder if I put in a phone jack and wore...
You just wore headphones. You could probably
headphones.
just talk to the headphones.
I could totally talk. That could be pretty cool.
Comfort bars. Yeah,
do
comfort
some
bars.
wing overs, have your son hold the phone. Well, I'll do the wing overs while holding the phone, and I'll just do them one-handed. I've actually done foot drags one-handed while videotaping myself doing it with the other hand. It's kind of a cool video. It's out there.
That's awesome.
It's way back there. Let's see. Woo, cool. Comfort bars. Hey, Del. Good to see you from Texas. Texas! Jason!
Live video tomorrow while flying. Let's go!
Stream. Yeah, 3!
What is it?
Yeah! Jordan's gonna place. He's gonna get up there. He's probably gonna beat Trevor, maybe.
Cause I'll be there
and then he'll beat him back. It's gonna be close.
Jordan always beats me on the glider.
I'm telling you, Troy's the one to look out for. Troy. You know, he's not quite as good right now, but Troy is the wild man. He's the one most like me. But, you know, Jordan's got serious skills, so that's going to be kind of interesting. But,
Good
super
luck.
skills there. Trevor did tie me. You should have beat me. That would have been cool.
I'll do it again.
That would have made fun of all the haters. Me, you know, instead of me bragging I'm #1, I could have said, "Look, I'm #2. Neener. Sucks to be you. I'm #2." So yeah, you got to go beat me this time.
Can I see a paraglider on radar?
Can I see a paraglider on radar?
As
no.
Like an airplane radar? I don't think so.
No. Well, talking to different towers, evidently they don't. A lot of them don't pick up anything that's going below 50 miles an hour. So they might get me on radar, but pretty much everybody else, they don't even pick up any aircraft going slower than 50. So a paraglider would be highly unlikely to show up on radar. I've always wanted to get them to, you know, have me sneak into Area 51 or something like that and test their security. Because I'd bet anything I could get in there, no problem. Even though I know they got some serious listening devices. I've talked to some of the guys that do that security, and they got some crazy stuff. But, you know, with the 10-to-1 glide ratio, I could shut my motor off at like 500 feet and glide a mile in. And, you know, I could land on the roof before they'd even know it. That'd be kind of funny.
How you smuggle drugs across the border?
Oh, I got that call too. There's a YouTube video, a guy, you know, he's like, dude, hey, I need to carry these packages across the border, blah, blah, blah.
Ooh.
Yeah, it'd be a great way to do it. So
10 grand a package, I'll do it.
No, not me. I'll teach you how to do it. Here you go.
That's what I was saying.
Need to come. Yeah, if you want me to do it, it's a $100,000 package. There you go. Let's see. Not enough metal for the radar to see. Yeah, it would be very hard for radar to catch it.
Look, we're already up to 18 people, man.
Yeah.
Flying. Tomorrow while you're flying, it's gonna be 100 people. Tell all your friends.
Do another max altitude flight. Dude.
That's what we were gonna do today.
One of my buddies sent me O2. Do you know I have oxygen?
Yeah,
I have an O2 bottle. Come on, Troy, get in here. Where's Super Troy? Here's Troy. Yeah, Super Troy's here too, so we got the whole crew. Get back. Okay, all right. Keep your face out here.
I banged my eyebrow really hard.
There you go.
Good.
So yeah, so I'm gonna do an altitude this time, but see, I need to get O2 because that last time that was kind of pansy wansy.
Dude,
I mean, I didn't
listen
even
to the video. He's searching
We're at
for words.
23. Yeah.
The world's best.
That was kind of
what?
funny.
24.
If you watch the 18,208 foot record, you can hear me like what he was saying. I'm kind of searching for words just a little bit slow. So I was obviously a little bit hypoxic, not too bad, because I figure even if I lost like 80% of my brain cells, I'd still be 50 times smarter than Hillary or any Hillary supporter.
That's a good
So,
question. If flat top
you gotta
didn't
figure.
exist, what would you fly?
If a flat top didn't exist, what would I fly? Commercial? Yeah, maybe Delta. That'd be it. I would quit the sport. Don't get in the sport if you don't fly a flat top.
You just make another one.
Yeah. Let me give you one reason why you don't fly anything but a flat top. And wait a second, I forgot what I was gonna. I forgot. I can't quite put my finger on what that reason was, but yeah, you'd just be a freaking hamburger short of a Happy Meal to fly anything but a flat top. Seriously, would I put my kids on anything but a flat top, knowing that one little trip and fall and they're gonna chop their hands up?
I wouldn't.
It's retarded. I mean, it's like you simply trip and fall down, and they can face plant you into the ground so hard. One guy literally snapped his neck and is now quadriplegic for life because he tripped and fell down on a unit like a Scout.
Expect a video
Boom.
series going over
Snapped his neck.
everything about the flat top and what makes it so special in depth.
Yeah.
Coming soon.
Yeah, it's just like it makes no sense. While yes, you could fly an exact of the Wright brothers aircraft, like what moron would do it? There's no reason to take that high of a level of risk. Much smarter to stack all the odds in your favor. So no, you just wouldn't get into the sport if you can't fly a flat top. Let's see. You promise to get me walking out of the trailer. See you next time. Dude, yeah, heck yeah, man. Walking up the trailer. Yep. That is mastery level stuff right there. I refuse to take the risk on anything else. Can't wait for January. Won't come fast enough. Yeah, it makes no sense to fly anything. I mean, it's just retarded. 19 dead in 1 year on other paramotors.
Doesn't make
It's like,
sense.
which one of my supers, do I want to have die? It's like, hello? Why the freak would you fly a paramotor other than a flat top, knowing that one of us at least is going to die within the next couple of years?
Especially
Where nobody's ever died on a flat top. So kind of pretty simple.
Trying to read that one.
How much is your training and where do you have it? Super training is still only $2,500, which is kind of retarded. But we do the training on the coast of Texas.
Jade will get
So
back to
just
you.
call 800-707-2525. 100-707-2525 and reserve. The next training trip is coming up, so you're going to want to reserve right away. Would I sell Hillary a flat top? No, but I would give her a heck of a deal on a Blackhawk.
Ooh,
and
or
like
Freshmans.
a Paratoys wing. Yeah, that would
Or
be
a
it.
Fresh.
Or like a Scout. But, you know, I bet most of you don't know this, but
No, he's going through the
here's a tip for you. The Scout paramotor, the Air Conception, the mini plane, and the Blackhawk are all the same paramotor. They're all fake copies of the 1980s Sky Cruiser. It's the exact same design, and none of them have updated anything to address any of the catastrophic safety issues. So no protection from the prop, no crumple zone, no faceplant protection, no quick release harness, no handless seating. They just none, you know, you could go through the 304, none of them been updated. It's stupid. So all the same accidents, like the guy who just died, Jim, who just died on a Blackhawk, it's the exact same thing with a Scout or an Air Conception or mini plane or all, there's literally like 50, probably 50 different fake copies.
It doesn't make sense, man. Like, why
It's
wouldn't
just
you update it? There's obvious
stupid.
things that have been improved upon.
I mean, if people are getting
updates
shredded
it.
in the prop, why not fix it? You would think.
Okay.
Oh.
Jade had a good question here.
Okay, Wyoming is so close. Would like to see you do a video over this way. Would be awesome. Wyoming fly camping. Can't wait to get trained. Oh yeah, yeah. I needed a video.
Fly there from
Why don't we
here.
fly
See, when
to
I did
Wyoming?
the Paramotor World distance record, I took off from Saratoga Springs, which is over on that side of the lake, and I flew 280 miles straight line and landed just outside of Rawlings, Wyoming. So I actually flew all through Wyoming in one flight. It was 7-hour and 13-minute flight, and flew clear the heck across Wyoming.
We got pictures of it.
And we have pictures, and we have witnesses, and we have pictures of the GPS that shows the whole thing and everything. It's pretty freaking cool. But 280 miles. So I've flown there, but I'll have to try and get.
Hey, Dad.
So you crash once, and the flat top totally saved you. Yeah,
buddy.
yeah. There's a couple of them. I think there's a couple of the crashes. I've totaled at least a dozen flat tops.
I've totaled one.
The Trevor totaled one. He actually took out the freaking deck.
I took out the deck too.
That was a good one. No, that's two.
I've totaled two.
That's two. Yeah, and but you never even got
I
injured.
would have broken my back on that second one had I not had the crumple zone.
Yeah.
And
Yep.
That's scary to think, but
Yeah, it saved his butt.
my back.
Yeah,
broke.
that could have been it right there if he didn't fly flat top.
18-year-old breaks back.
But I've totaled so many flat tops. It's just like, you know, if you're pushing the limits, that's what, you know, you push the limits, you push hard, you fly hard, you know, you're trying to break records, you're gonna mess up. It's like motorcycle racing, you know, you're gonna crash if you're pushing those
You're
limits.
constantly push
Hey,
and
Dad.
The
push.
difference is when you mess up on a flat top,
Are you gonna be safe?
none of us have ever been injured. Have any of you ever been injured?
Nope.
There's 4 of some of the best, most experienced pilots in the world. Not a single one of us has ever, 0 injuries on flat top paramotors.
Dang.
0. So, hello, pretty dang safe. Let's see, how often do you have classes in Texas? I personally do the training. It's a long drive. It's like 1,500 miles.
Oi.
So the location is absolutely critical, though. So it's worth that drive or worth that flight from anywhere in the world because it's about the hours of practice. So you need about 25 to 60 hours of actual glider control practice to really master a solid level of glider control. And you just can't do that in Utah. You know, if you tried to train here in Utah, you might only get 15 minutes, you know, an hour and a half this day, that day, 10 days into training, you know, and you might get 5 hours of total training. Where that location we use in Texas, we literally get sometimes upwards of 80 hours of actual practice.
Easily can train 10 to 15
In
hours
super
a day
training.
if you choose to.
Yeah, it's just ridiculous. So it's about the amount of hours. So hours.
So to answer the question, every 2 months about?
Yeah, every other month, I personally do the training. Yep, and we do it. What do you think about Ashton Bruner? Ashton Bruner killed a guy. He's just incompetent, doesn't know what the freak he's doing. Just total dishonest crook like many of them out there.
Yes,
Ashton Bruner killed and it's how he killed the guy. He killed the guy from sheer dishonesty and incompetence.
Okay.
Because for one, Ashton Brunner does not have even the most basic ability to control a glider himself. So like try and find any video of him just doing something basic like reverse kiting with no hands. The Super Curtis Sutherland, he could do it on his second day of super training.
Curtis
He could
rocked it, man.
Yeah, Curtis, post on there and go, yeah, second day of super training, I was reverse kiting no hands. Let's see Ashton Brunner, who's pretending to be an instructor, just reverse kite with no hands. He can't do it. He doesn't have even the most basic skills. But the way he killed the guy is he takes this old guy, sticks him in a trike with no training at all, and his training was, dude, hit the throttle, I'll walk you through it on the radio.
Oh my goodness.
But then he sticks him on this Mac Paraglider. Well, the Mac Paraglider oscillates violently and gets worse. It does not fix oscillation. It oscillates worse and worse. If the pilot doesn't fix it, you freaking die. So, and that there's a lot of gliders I've tested that. I've shown that in different videos where if you start an oscillation under power and you do nothing and just sit flat, like the Mac Para, like the Eden 3 or whatever, it'll start oscillating, get worse, worse until you literally loop straight face first into the ground. So he sticks this guy on a total death trap glider that's known to oscillate violently, and oscillation is not intuitive. It's backwards to what's intuitive to try and fix it. Because what do you do if your glider goes off to the left? Well, most people are going to say pull right brake, and that's exactly the wrong thing, because that's backwards. If your glider goes left and you pull right brake, oh, it shoots off to the right. Then they pull left brake, and it goes this way. So they don't make it better. They literally make it worse. And so it's just Ashton Brunner killed a guy through sheer incompetence. These people should not be acting as instructors if they don't have even the most basic skills.
You're going to have to speed up on some of these questions.
Yeah, sorry. Oh my gosh. Yes. Hillary needs a Blackhawk. Yes.
Want to try a flat top? Come try it, man.
Yeah, flat top's the only way to go.
Scout pilot in your area was throwing shade. Don't even care. Haters can hate,
shade, man. A certain scout. There are no scout pilots.
None left.
There are no competent people that fly scouts. I mean, how can you claim to be competent and fly a unit that literally hasn't had a safety update in 40 years of the sport?
Haters gonna hate.
Same sort of thing. So it's just dishonest people.
Electric paramotor.
And they can talk crap.
He has.
I invented the first actually for sale electric paramotor, but they suck horribly. Don't get an electric paramotor. On paper, it's a cool theory because the electric motor weighed 4 pounds and it'll literally put out like 200 pounds of thrust and you can fly for like 30 minutes on batteries. And that all sounded really cool, but the problem is if you put out 200 pounds of thrust, your engine catches on fire and all the electric melts and the batteries blow up. So
no good.
And not to mention, even if the motor didn't catch on fire after 8 to 15 seconds at full throttle, your battery would be dead in 2 minutes. So you're pulling about 200 amps at like 72 volts for an electric paramotor. You just don't have the batteries. It's just the technology is not there. Okay. So electric paramotors, total waste of time. Ain't happening. There you go. Tip for the day. Do not. I spent a crap load developing the electric paramotor, and it was other than I learned it was a complete waste of time, which is valuable to know that it is a complete waste of time. Basically, I just threw all my money in the toilet because it was a complete waste of time. Okay. But now I know that electric is a waste of time. Unless they come out with some, fuel cell
Tesla is able to increase the capacity of the battery.
Yeah. They got to do that. What kind of altimeter do you recommend? What do you need an altimeter for? Really, the only reason I use an altimeter is...
Same reason you use a phone app.
Is if I'm doing testing or like setting a specific record. Generally, for the type of flying I do, the only effect... Oh, hey, we resumed.
Good. Oh my goodness.
We saved it.
Okay, all the people
gotta be careful where the thumb goes.
We're sorry, there's way too many at this point.
We're getting it.
Get there. We'll start back up where we were.
So, what is the most effective altimeter?
Boom, this is where you were.
For Superdell? It would be a ruler. Because generally I fly less than 12 inches off the ground. So my effective altimeter would probably be a ruler. I could stick a ruler down and go, let's see, 8 inches, 7 inches, 6 inches. There you go. But you don't really need an altimeter. What do you need an altimeter for? Maybe if I was flying really close to controlled airspace and I needed to know exactly where I was. But paramotoring's not about flying at 2,000 feet and cruising straight and level for 10 hours. That's like the most boring thing in the world, which is why no real pilot is going to compete in an Icarus race. It's just stupid. Nobody wants to hang out at 3,000 feet for 10 hours or whatever. That's not the sport. The sport is like clicking through the trees, hanging a right, dragging a wingtip, jumping over the mountain, landing on the roof, you know, fly camping. That's what the sport is about, not flying straight and level. So if you need an altimeter, you're kind of doing something wrong in the sport. Unless I'm testing something and I want to see the glide ratio, something like that. So for testing, it's not too bad.
What phone app do you recommend?
The guy who did a backflip.
What phone app do you recommend?
What phone app do I recommend? Actually, I use PPG Test. No, excuse me. GPS Test. It's called GPS Test, but it's not available. Evidently, it's not available for Mac or iPhone or whatever, and so you have to have a Droid.
It's the one in all the videos.
But
though.
I like that one because it makes really big numbers. And again, really the only reason I'm using a GPS is for testing or like a speed test. You would never need to know that if you're flying. You don't really care. But if you're doing a test, it gives big numbers so you can pick it up.
What do you think of Polini?
What do I think of Polini? Polini just isn't there. Power to weight ratio, way too heavy. You know, I'm a distributor, so I can sell them, but you just don't have the power to weight ratio, and they've got pretty major reliability issues.
Jeff Goyne? Opinion on Jeff Goyne?
Opinion on Jeff Goyne. He's the biggest murderer, serial killer in the sport.
Doesn't like him.
He intentionally, knowingly, and maliciously defrauds people and promotes people as instructors who literally have never had a day of proper training in their life and who don't have even the most basic skills, like Ashton Bruner. So it's like Ashton Bruner kills a guy and like that's a certified instructor who literally doesn't know jack squat for squat and doesn't even have real skills. Or like Michael Mixer, the fake Blackhawk instructor, USPPA certified. And yeah, he broke his own back in 1 year, twice in 1 year, and then he kills 2 students in 1 month. And that's who this Jeff Goyne guy promotes as certified, while bashing, trashing, and lying about people who do actually know what they're doing. So Goyne is a total crook. And it's like talking to a Hillary supporter. It doesn't matter what facts, logic, and reason. You know, the first thing everybody says is, oh, why don't you guys just talk it out? Yeah, try talking to a Hillary supporter. You know, it doesn't work. It goes in one ear, it goes out the other ear. Facts, reality don't matter to these people. It's kind of insane. So yeah, this is interesting. Watching Super Troy give tandem instruction rides was amazing. 14 years old. Yeah, he started flying tandem when he was 13, as did Trevor. I think Trevor set the world record at first as the world's youngest tandem pilot. So
still can run circles around them.
That's it. Super Trevor rules, man.
Troy's actually bringing a flat top over here.
Okay, want to get into the sport here in Ontario, Canada. Your package deal looks great.
Good.
Yes, Jazz, in Canada. Do not train in Canada. Come get super training. You need a license in Canada, but don't let that deceive you because it's you need to get the skills. And the key is they don't sell the skills in Canada. I challenge anyone out there who's been through training in Canada, post a video of yourself kiting up a vertical wall or, reverse kiting no hands or kiting on 1 foot or hanging on 1 foot and balancing the control and the altitude of your butt within mere inches, perfectly using the glider, or doing touch and goes on like an extra small at 240 pounds. You're just not going to master real skills because they're not doing real training. So if you live in Canada, come down, do super training, get the skills. Like just a couple classes back, I had a guy from super training. I mean, just totally rocked. Came down from Canada. He walked up the trailer on like his 5th day, day 5. But he's the guy. Actually, if you search YouTube for paramotor student destroys instructor, you can watch this student who came down from Canada utterly humiliate a USPPA 15-year instructor.
I gotta go. I'll see you later.
Okay, see you, Trevs.
Look, you're killing it.
Super Trevs! Yeah, okay.
Tomorrow, flying with this.
So,
Q&A questions.
heck yeah,
Maybe
3 o'clock.
possible.
3 o'clock.
3 o'clock.
We're going to go flying.
Okay. Stop. Just place that X.
So, let's see, where was I? Now you got me going there. Oh, yeah, Canada. That's it. So, came down from Canada, walked up the trailer on like day 5, I think it was. So, which is serious skills. Then this 15 instructor comes wandering by super training. And he's like, oh, yeah, I can do that stuff. Oh, yeah, I can reverse kite, no hands, no pro. Oh, yeah, I'm an instructor. I'm like, okay, let's see it. Let's have you try and have a side-by-side competition with my brand new student who came down from Canada, one of many in the class. But it's kind of a funny video. You search paramotor student destroys instructor. It gives you a perfect example of the difference between true and real training, which results in actual skill, versus totally bogus training. So if you're from Canada, get the skills. You can always get the paperwork, because like a couple of Jack in a Box, whatever, box tops and $2, and you can get the certifications. Literally just tip somebody a couple $100, whatever. They'll give you the paperwork. Once you have the skills, it's easy to get whatever certification you want anywhere, because you'll be better than the instructor. But you can't get skills no matter what you pay from people who don't have them. So come down from Canada.
Hey, Dad, I brought a flat top just in case anybody.
Flat top. Oh, hey, we got a flat top behind us.
Just in case anybody has like a question about the flat top.
Flat top.
Point it out.
Okay, want to get into Ontario, Canada. That's the way to do it. That's awesome. Super training is the only way to go. No question. Amen. Anyone who's been through super training, ask around. You'll see people talking crap and bashing, trashing, and lying all over YouTube, but not customers. People that have done the training, they know it takes a boatload of time and work to get to those skill levels that we get. Have you ever done an infinity tumble? Can you make a video doing some? I have done tumble. I've never done an infinity tumble. Personally, I think it's kind of stupid to flip over your glider. You got about an 8% chance of dying doing that maneuver. So do you want an 8% chance of dying? I'm not really thrilled with that. I've gone my whole life paramotoring, and I've never, ever been injured because I don't do stupid stuff. I do push the limits, and I like to have fun and set records and do stuff, but there's certain things that are kind of beyond the level of sanity where you're taking just kind of absurd risks. So you got to have some sort of a brain. And lots of people have tried to do tandems, and a very high percentage of them are not tandems, but infinity tumbles. And a lot of people die. I mean, you're flicking yourself over the glider. Not to mention you have to do it on a total death trap glider that surges so violently, it literally flicks you over the top of it. So you're compounding your danger by not only are you doing something completely asinine, but you're doing it on like the most deadly glider you could possibly get. Well, not as deadly as a glider they call reflex. Those are the worst, most deadly gliders in the sport. But uncertified class acro gliders are not exactly the safest gliders. They're in there. So you're kind of compounding that. That's why I don't really get into that. I like to do the fun stuff where you have, a very low odds of dying, but you're still having as much fun as possible. What do you think about Sky Paragliders PPG wings? There's no such thing as a PPG wing. There is no PPG wing. They don't exist. A paraglider is a paraglider is a paraglider is a paraglider. So it's a paraglider. There is no such thing as a PPG wing. If they're marketing it as a PPG wing, it generally just means it sucks so bad that no paraglider pilot would ever fly it. So paragliders are all about characteristics: glide ratio, sink rate, speed, ease of launch, handling, safety, stability, measurable characteristics. So the best paraglider for motoring is the best paraglider for paragliding. You want the best of every single characteristic. So any wing made for paramotoring, it literally just means they suck so bad that no paraglider would fly. So you don't want it as a paramotor pilot. You want to get the best wing, which is currently the Dominator. But I challenge anyone out there to beat the Dominator. I will be happy to pay you $5,000 if you can, produce me a wing that will literally, honestly, beat the Dominator in all overall characteristics. Okay. You don't know how right you are about Ashton Bruner. Actually, I do. That's one thing about being a master level pilot. Everybody tries to pass it up. Oh, you're arrogant, blah, 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 saying you're the best. But when you're at that skill level, you can look at someone for 3 seconds and literally know exactly where their skill level is. I mean, I can just look at your fingers and I can see if you're making like 4 or 5, corrections per second, I instantly know you are an extremely skilled pilot. If I look at your hands and they're not moving, it's worthless. You don't know what the freak you're doing. So yes, I actually do know how good and how bad people are. Even if I've never met them, if I've seen them for 3 seconds in a video, I know exactly what their skill level is. But that's just a experience thing. Captain Kurt talks crap all the time about flat top dude is a joke. Yes, no question. For one, he's not a captain. He's a total scammer. 2, he's total fake. He pretends to be special forces, blah, blah, blah. He pretends to be an instructor when he's literally not even a pilot. He's never had a day of training, doesn't have even the most basic skills. So again, it's not about opinion. It's about measurable things. So it's like you can either kite with no hands or you can't. You can either climb up a wall or you can't. You can either kite in 30-mile-an-hour winds and soar a sand dune backwards, or you can't. You either have that real skill or you don't. Pfister does not have even the most basic skill. He can't even do what my brand new students can do, and he's out there pretending to be an instructor. So yeah, Pfister it's not really a joke because he's a total lion scumbag, which is really evil. I mean, it's just, it's one thing to lie trying to sell toasters, but lying to sell aircraft is freaking evil because you're talking about people's lives. I wish you and James Allred would make a video together. He said you trained him and he makes vids himself. Yeah, James, he freaking rocks. Of course I trained him. All the guys you see out there that are just rocking the skills, yes, it makes a huge difference. There are some guys in Europe that have really, really good skills. The thing to think about and realize is you take someone like Mike Kung. He's extremely skilled pilot, and no, he didn't go through super training, but how long did it take him to get to that skill level? I mean, you look at the people I've trained, and literally Super Troy was kiting up vertical surfaces by his 3rd day of training. So it's like, do you want to risk your life for 25 years having to learn the hard way and going through trial and error? Or is it smarter to just get super training and get every single piece of mastery level skill and technique right up front and practice it into reflexes? And literally within 10 days, you've got a skill level that takes most people 15, 20 years. And that's if they were able to figure it out. Because I'd love to see people like Mike Kung reverse kite with no hands and do some of those things, or like an infinity wingtip drag. He can't do that. But he is a skilled pilot, and it's interesting to compare. It's cool that some of those guys have skills, but what they don't do is you don't see them teach other people's skills. So where are any of their new students demonstrating that high level of skills? It doesn't exist. So super training's pretty much it. I mean, I wish there was other places. If I knew of other places, tell me, show me a video, link it right on there, anywhere, and show me any other instructor in the world who's putting out incredibly skilled students. If I can find another instructor, I would be happy to recommend them. No question about it. What do you think about Kyle Matula in Corpus? Kyle Matula in Corpus Christi doesn't have even the most basic skill. He's out there pretending to be an instructor. Total scam. It's sad. You want to help a guy. It's not about putting someone down. It's about sharing the truth that people's lives depend on. So being Christian, I, believe in the commandment to warn thy neighbor of pitfalls that lay before them. Well, trying to train with an instructor who literally doesn't have even the most basic skills is a major, major issue, especially when they put you on the worst and most horribly unsafe gear. That is a total nightmare. So no, I would not even consider. I mean, you watch Kyle Matula trying to do tandems and his wings oscillating all over them. I mean, literally doesn't even have oscillation control or even the most basic control. It's a nightmare, and there's no reason for it, because think about it. In 10 days, he could have gone through super training. So if somebody was just honest, they would look at their skill and go, yes, honestly, I cannot do what Superdell students do. Obviously, I should take his training. That would be the honest, intelligent way to do it. That's how it goes. But for some reason, these guys are just not honest. Oh, my wife wants to show you. Yes, I am the U.S. National Kiting Champion, glider control champion. I beat Chris Santacroce, and for number 1 in the, there you go, Extreme Kiting National Chania in 2010. And then, of course, they banned me because they're lying scammers and they don't want the truth. And so, then they try and, they don't want me to come to, because they look really stupid when the truth isn't right next to them. So anyway, I don't know why my wife wanted to show you that, but thank you, dear.
Those guys were there, Del. Jeff Goyne was there.
Yeah, those guys are all there. I mean, we know all the history of the sport. I know all these people you're talking about. You bring up people. If you list anyone I don't know, they're probably really new to the sport. Tornado 280 on flat top. No, Tornado's piece of crap motor. You can only make a motor so light with so much power. You have to have enough mass to dissipate heat. So having a name brand, properly built engine is incredibly important. So Viterazzi is one of the best names for reliability in the industry. Like Simonini, Viterazzi, Minari. These are bigger name brand companies. An engine is not something you want to buy from some Joe Blow Mickey Mouse company. It's just not the way to go. And there's so much stuff to an engine. It's lovely if you fire it up and, you show a video of somebody flying it for an hour, but it takes thousands of hours of testing on hundreds and hundreds of units to really get an understanding of what it's really like. So don't fall for bull crap. You got to stick with the tried and true. And be sure, if there's an engine that's better, I will immediately switch to it, but I will test the crap out of it before I sell it. I don't just chuck stuff out there because it's, sales pitch and go, oh yeah, wait, check this out, blah, 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 you gotta buy this. It's just, there's bull crap, and then there's reality, and then there's caring about a customer. If somebody buys something I recommend, there's no BS about it. I went out, I trust my kids' lives to it because I've tested the crap out of it. So kind of cool stuff. What is your opinion on Eric Farewell? Why do I ask all these opinions on other people? Eric Farewell is a total newbie who learned from Blackhawk and months later was pretending to be an instructor. He broke his own back on a total piece of crap paramotor Skycruiser clone, and now he's selling Skycruiser clones that he broke his back on. I mean, it's like, do you just not care about people's lives? That's pretty freaking stupid. He breaks his own back on a total piece of crap, and he's recommending that piece of crap to brand new people when he literally learned from someone who my new student had to help launch. It's kind of a funny one. If you want to see who he trained with, look up Paramotor Student Destroys Blackhawk. You can watch my brand new student right out of super training take off first try, piece of cake, no problem. Then he's up there watching, Mike of Paratoys blow launch after launch after launch, and he's blowing launches because he doesn't have even the most basic skill. So my student lands and tries to help him, and he keeps blowing launch after launch after launch because he literally doesn't have even the most basic fundamentals. He just runs and hopes everything, gets lucky. But with video that he controls, he just edits out the 18 blown launches and only shows you the one where he got lucky. But when you get a hold of a real video that shows the actual truth, these people don't know crap for crap. So, who is Eric Farewell? Eric Farewell is a guy who trained with an incompetent moron. So, obviously, you're not going to have skills if you trained with somebody who doesn't have skills. It's just the way it goes. So Eric Farewell of Aviator PPG literally does not have even the most basic skills, and none of his new students are going to have basic skills. Because what does it take to develop skills? Best training in the world, someone showing you how to do all the tips and tricks, and hours. If you look at some of their videos, listen with your ears and with your brain. They literally admit on their videos that you're only getting between 0 and 3 hours of actual glider control practice. 0 to 3 hours before they chuck your butt in the air. That's not training. You cannot learn any real skill in 3 hours. Ask anyone who's been through super training. You're talking anywhere from 25 to 60 or even more hours before we even let them take their first flights. They could literally kite both forwards and reverse with no hands. They could kite with their eyes closed, and they could definitely control the altitude of their butt within inches perfectly using the glider, or we do not let them control the glider. You literally have to get to a place where you never, ever, ever, ever take a collapse. If you're taking collapses every 5 minutes, we don't put you in the sky. So you pretty much have to kite just about all day without ever taking a collapse. If you go train at Aviator PPG, you're literally going to get chucked in the sky with no actual training and no actual skills. So you absolutely do not have the ability to prevent collapses. So don't do that. Why would you train with a total scammer who trained with a scammer that doesn't know what he's doing? You got to look at skill levels in this sport. It's not about bashing trash. It's about truth and reality. Either what I'm saying is accurate. Show me a video of him reverse kiting no hands. Show me a video of him kiting up a vertical wall or, doing the things you see super students. That's not competing with me. I mean, he can't compete with me at all. He literally can't even compete with my students. So those like Eric Farewell, again, they should just be honest. Look at their skill level, realize they do not have even the most basic skills, and come get freaking training. I would train them. If they just came through training, bam, how's it going to hurt them to be incredibly skilled because they go through super training? I mean, there's no logic, there's no reason not to get the best training in the world and master skills properly before you start acting as an instructor. And then the other piece is you have to sell quality gear. So, yeah, what's my opinion of Eric Farewell? Sadly, he is a dishonest, incompetent guy that really does not give one rat's crap about your life and doesn't care about the truth. So, honor versus dishonor. Okay. Hey, I've been flying lightning baby. Oh, baby, I wish I had a safety feature. Flat top, air fun. Targets canceled for counter props, lightweight. Yeah, no. Electric paramotors, we already talked about. It's not happening. You can get power, yep. You can get a little duration, yep. But you can't get power and duration. Is completely worthless. GPS test, yeah, baby, we'll call you. Need a wing. Stu from Portland, Oregon. Yep, heck yeah, buddy. That's the stuff right there. You need a wing, give me a call. We will make sure you get the right one. And I mean, it's one thing cool that, we carry, and there's not one perfect size wing for everyone. So if we send you a wing, if it's a little too hot for you, send it back. We'll get you a different size. Or if it's not quite hot enough and you want to sport it up a little bit, send it back. We'll get you a little smaller size and, we'll tune the wing. Sometimes I'll send people 4 wings before we get the wing they absolutely love, their favorite wing in their lifetime. So right now, the wing you really want is an extra small Dominator. To be on that small of a wing, you need expert level skills or beyond expert level skills. So, it's not just about the wing. We need to get your skill level up so you can actually fly the coolest wing and be good and safe doing it. I mean, it's the safest wing, gives you the performance, but you got to be able to deal with the speed and performance. So, yep, cool stuff. All right, let's see. Super Trev could also produce a DVD, online courses. There's information stuff. Yes, I can share information, but training people, it'd be like trying to train someone from a video. You can't really do CDs or online courses for stuff like martial or paramotoring. It doesn't work that way. Live stream your flight tomorrow. Yeah, I'm planning live stream my flight tomorrow. We're hoping to launch at about 3 o'clock. That's the plan. Have you seen Aviator PPG's kiting video? I did watch some of it. It's horrifically, it's so upsetting. I mean, it's like, why, if you don't have even the most basic skills, are you scamming people and pretending to be an instructor? This is people's lives. They just killed a guy. His name was Eric. He's dead because they totally defrauded him. Nobody has ever died in the history of the sport on a flat top, and I run the biggest paramotor school in the friggin' world. So there's no reason for that crap if you would just be honest. Look at your skill level. If you don't have the skill level, come learn properly. I mean, there's a right way to do things and a wrong way to do things. I want the tandem attachment. Dude, my tandem setup's freaking rules. I've perfected it over like the last 12 years. I've made it longer, shorter. It's the perfect length. It's the perfect setup. It really is. The tandem setup that I use is freaking awesome. But don't be doing tandems if you are not extremely skilled. You know, we cannot afford to have someone getting hurt doing tandems. So if you do tandems, you should be darn close to perfect. Don't mess up. Do I have to go through your training to buy a flat top? No, you don't have to go through my training to buy a flat top. Anyone, anywhere could buy a flat top, but I would highly recommend that you have real skills, but I'm not your mommy, and there's no license required in the sport, so yes, you can own a flat top, even if you're a moron, which I would prefer you not do that, but yes, that's possible. Oh, Shanzi, I want your baby. There you go. My babies are awesome. Yes. Being a good parent. All 4 of my kids are freaking awesome pilots. Just the gravy, sell stuff, get people killed. Yes, Kurt Pfister. He's not a captain. I wouldn't call him captain. The guy's, yeah. Not even Captain Clown, because he's not a captain. So is this really live or a replay? This is live. This is me. We've been going for, holy crap, almost an hour now. That's kind of crazy. Online DVDs, thank you for the stream. Required day, why everyone without super training gets it wrong. Dell, thank you for the stream. Can you talk about the skill required to fly in the day and why everyone without super training gets it wrong? That's a good question. So why do other people, like, their nightmare would be flying during the day? It's because they don't have proper control of their glider. And it's the pilot skill that makes that glider the most stable. If you don't active pilot your glider properly, you are like 5,000 times more likely to collapse. So to put that number into perspective, because people don't like me pulling numbers out of the sky, let's say you're driving down the freeway and you close your eyes and let go of the steering wheel. Are you over 5,000 times more likely to crash? Well, it's more like infinity. You either have control or you don't. And so if you don't have control of your glider and you go flying, well, you're infinitely more safe, more likely to take that massive collapse. And if you don't have the skills, you also will not recover from it. So the skill, it's very, very interesting because the skill to prevent collapses is exactly the same skill it takes to kite up that vertical wall. So like all those supers, students you see kiting up the trailer. Now, you can learn that same skill without having to kite up the trailer. That's, for guys that don't mind pushing it a little bit because there's a little danger going up a trailer. Although I make sure that they're freaking awesome before they ever do that. But that exact skill is exactly the skill it takes to prevent a collapse. It's also the exact same skill it takes to make perfect launches and landings and to perfectly active control your glider. So if you cannot kite up a a trailer or a vertical wall, you should not be flying during the day. You really should not be flying at all, because there is no such thing as perfect air. You hear that all the time. Oh, we only fly in perfect conditions. Bullcrap. Not even the weatherman can predict perfect conditions. I have been flying early morning in the winter in nice, cold, freezing air, and whap, 95% collapse, just completely out of nothing. I mean, you'd be perfectly smooth, not a ripple in the sky, and bam. So trying to pretend that you fly in perfectly smooth air is moronic. It's not true. It's not accurate. It does not exist. You should not be getting in the sky if you do not have super skills. It's that simple. It makes no sense. There's no reason for 19 to die in one single year. So yes, it's very, very important to have the right skills so that you can fly during the day. Now, once you get that skill, once you actually can kite up a vertical wall, you literally have such a high level of skill that, yeah, flying down the Grand Canyon in the middle of the day in 100-degree temperatures, the total no problem, because you are so dialed in keeping that glider perfectly loaded. Because if you're kiting up a wall and you unload the glider at all, you either fall off the trailer, or if you overload the glider, boom, you get yanked over the trailer. So it's a demonstration that you have the ability to maintain a perfect loading of the glider. And if you can keep your glider perfectly lifting you, perfectly loaded, and exactly where you need it to, then yes, you can fly all day, every day, wherever the heck you want. Very, very, very cool. So thank you for the stream. He's just slow looking at the next comment. Yeah, sorry, the comments are coming pretty quick. Talk about reliability of engines. Love my flat top, but I'm on my second Simonini after 4 years. What the freak are you doing on a Simonini? Dude, get off a Simonini. We switched like, what, 8 years ago, 6 years ago, 7? In there somewhere. Dude, the Viterazzi is 12 pounds lighter. So the flat top Ninja with the Viterazzi is 12 pounds lighter than the flat top with the Simonini. And it's like 20 times more reliable, and it has more power. So your climb is actually better with the flat top Ninja. So yeah, you should not be on a Simonini. So yeah, if you're still on Simoninis, yes, your reliability, I mean, come on, it beats the Viterazzi. That's the whole idea. They beat you, you beat them. Come on, come out with the new Super Simonini motor that's lighter and more powerful, but also reliable, not some piece of crap Tornado. What do you think of Tucker Gott? Tucker Gott's just a typical newbie. You know, he's all excited about getting into the sport, but he doesn't know what the freak he's doing, and he's not honest enough to be honest about that. It seems like some of these kids today, they care more about views than they do even about people's lives. It's just about views for them. So while it's great, Tucker Gott brings a lot of attention to the sport, and that's awesome. It's good for everyone's business. That's cool. The problem is he's flying the absolute worst, most deadly gear in the history of the sport, and he's promoting totally incompetent people like Aviator PPG as instructors. So that is a total nightmare, and literally Tucker Gott has a 100% chance he will die. 100%. I mean, if you play Russian roulette and you shoot at your head 600 times, the odds of you dying, yes, is 100%. So Tucker Gott is flying a total death trap glider they call Reflex. He's on the absolute worst and most deadly paramotor design, which is the Sky Cruiser copy, which is the Scout. That's just a Sky Cruiser copy. He's got no crumple zone, nothing. And interestingly enough, did you know that Tucker Gott is the replacement? Jeff Toll was the guy promoting Scout, but he died. Tucker Gott is who they got to replace Jeff. So Tucker, his previous guy is dead. So he's already replacing a guy who already died doing what he's doing. And yes, he will die. It's just a matter of time. We're all waiting for it. And it really sucks because when Tucker dies, it's going to really trash the image of the sport, because then everybody's going to think it's unsafe, even though the fact is nobody's ever died in the history of the sport on a flat top. The reason he's going to die is because he's flying the absolute worst, most deadly gear in the history of the sport, and he hasn't taken super training, so he's missing a lot of real, actual skills. So big issues there. But it's not about like or dislike. It's about truth or non-truth, or trying to help people understand the truth and reality versus not helping people. I mean, if he just came and got super training and flew quality gear, he could be a huge benefit and save thousands of lives. But if he flies the absolute worst, that, you know, then he's getting people killed. Like Eric, who just died, that's yet another victim of Tucker, because he was basically following Tucker's example and died on the exact same type of gear Tucker got is promoting. So there's another death Tucker got is responsible. That blood is on his hands, because he's the one that was the role model for these guys that are dying, because he's flying the worst death trap gear in the history of the sport. I hate you from Montana, but I think you would get along. Hey, already trained, but maybe intermediate course for the fun. No, you weren't trained. Sorry. It sounds weird. You know, you're new to the sport. You don't really understand, but you have to look honestly at your skill level. Can you do what super students can do, or can you not? Either you have that skill or you don't have that skill. If you don't have that skill, you have not really been properly or fully trained, because you either have full control of your glider or you do not have full control of your glider. And then a huge, like the biggest part of training is which gear they recommended you get. If you're not flying a flat top and a good name brand certified glider like the Dominator that's super safe, your instructor was a total freaking scumbag that didn't do his job. Just based on the flat top paramotor alone, anyone who's not recommending the flat top is freaking so incompetent. It's past incompetent. It's like evil. It's seriously sick for them to be promoting gear that is so horribly unsafe. Over 100 people shredded in the props, and they've never fixed the problem. And then they bash and trash and lie about the unit that fixed the problem forever ago and just doesn't have those problems, which is why you don't see people getting injured and killed on flat tops. So, you know, you think you're in the sport and you think you've had training, but you need to look honestly at your skill level and determine whether you really have super skills. So go through super training, get a flat top, make sure you have a certified glider. Doesn't have to be a Dominator. The Dominator will give you the best performance for the safety, but you definitely want a good safe wing. And if you're flying a glider they call reflex, stop flying immediately, because that will kill you. Don't do that. You ever think of putting a Monster 185 on the flat top? What's the difference between the 185 and the 185 Plus? There's a good question. The difference between there's 4 motors from Vitarazi. So you got the Classic, you got the Silent, you got the Plus, and then you got the Factory. The 2 best to get would be the Silent, not the Silent, excuse me, the Classic or the Plus. The Plus gives you a bit more power. It gives you considerably better fuel economy, almost 3 hours on a tank of gas compared to about 2 hours on a tank of gas. Last time I tested the Plus model, I made 2 hours and 50 minutes on 1 tank of gas. So the Plus model is kind of the way to go now, and that's kind of what everybody's getting on their flat tops is that Plus model. The Factory model is really cool, but they're extremely difficult to get. They only make so many a month, and they've got so many dealers, you could be waiting 6 months to a year. And it's really nifty, but it's not really any better than the Plus model. It's got, you know, titanium this and titanium bolt pit and you know, forged machine crankcase and all this stuff. But the fact is, it's only about a half a pound lighter. So you spend double the money, and in reality, you only shaved about a half a pound. And the Plus and the Factory model are about the same. So really, you got your most cost effective is the Plus. If price is no object, cool, you can wait your 6 months to a year and get a Factory model. But realistically, you're probably good to go with the Plus model, where it's at. Okay. Jeff Coyne is a fudge packer. Yes, he does not deny being a pervert. I asked him straight out, and he does not deny it. But it's, you know, it's not so. And he's just being a total crook. Reports totally fake to try scare people away from the safety. He's intentionally trying to get people killed. This guy belongs in prison for manslaughter. That's going. Are there any guarantees for your students? Are there any guarantees for your students? Guarantee, yeah. You're guaranteed to get the absolute best training in the world and access to the best and safest gear in the world. How fast you progress, it's totally up to you. If you're horribly uncoordinated, super training is not the class where you're guaranteed to fly. You only fly if you can pass off a really solid level of control with the glider and can do those things. Kite forwards and backwards, no hands, kite with your eyes closed, and perfectly, keep the glider loaded, carrying, controlling the altitude of your butt with the glider. If you don't develop that skill, you don't fly. So we don't put you in the air because we actually love you. It's not about the money. It's about actually trying to train you and just be honest. So the guarantee is you're going to get the best training in the world. It's not a guarantee of how far you're going to get in the skill level. It's just a guarantee that I'm going to do everything I can to try and get you as far as I possibly can. And if you hear from any of the supers, you're going to see that we really go out of our way to try and do anything we can to help you. Biggest fan, Superdell, always looked up to you. Thanks, man. Appreciate it, Bob. The Mega Trump, yeah, there we go. Australia's watching, cool. The impregnated, okay, woo. Sorry, I'm not Jeff Goin, dude. Okay, do you ever teach SIV courses? Yes. And super training is the only SIV course you should take. This is a big one. They almost got me killed. I've even done quite a few maneuvers courses myself. You go to a maneuvers course, you're going to have like 2, 3, 4 people chuck reserves every single time. Every time, 2 to 4 people chuck the reserves during that course. And you're only talking about a handful of people. In all of my years and years and years of teaching maneuvers, I've had one guy chuck a reserve. One single guy in all of my years of teaching maneuvers chuck a reserve. So one guy in all of history versus 2 to 4 people every single time. There's huge, gigantic differences in safety. And that safety comes from knowing what gear to use and knowing which maneuver should be done on which gear. Like if you want to practice a helicopter, you do not go out and do that on a totally uncertified death trap glider. That's totally asinine. You get these guys and they're just like, oh yeah, bring any glider and we'll go you through the maneuvers. No, you want to put the person on the best gear for that particular maneuver. Now, once you learn that maneuver, then maybe, okay, you might have some sort of excuse to go to like an uncertified class acro glider. But realistically, the whole reason I don't fly an uncertified acro glider, which I spent years and years doing, is because I can do everything on my Dominator that I could do on my Morpheus. So why should I fly a very, very unsafe glider when the safest glider in the world can do everything the Morpheus can do? Now, yeah, the Morpheus is going to be just a little bit sharper, a little more dynamic. But realistically, I could do everything on the Dominator, and the Dominator handles like a freaking dream. It actually handles better than the Thriller acro glider. So you should be on the right glider for that maneuver so that when you learn maneuvers, you get to practice a maneuver instead of chucking your reserve and almost getting yourself killed. So maneuvers courses, come to super training. I mean, if there was somebody I could honestly recommend, I would do it. It's not like I care if you go to me or go to this other guy, but if there was someone else that I could honestly trust your life to, I would recommend them. I can't train everyone, but right now I don't know anyone that I could honestly say that I would trust my children's life to. I'm sorry, I just won't. Back 10 years ago, as you're starting up in the sport, you just don't realize how bad some of this stuff is until you start to get to a certain skill level. And then you're like, oh my gosh, I can't believe those guys did that to me. After, 10 years later, after you've learned the maneuver and you realize they actually taught you wrong, and you're like, what the fudge? They literally taught me, I go to them for a maneuvers clinic and they teach me how to do a stall wrong. That's messed up. I mean, if you're not doing it right, you shouldn't be a maneuvers coach. So if you come to me, I'm going to be honest at least and tell you what I know and what I don't know. So it is the way it goes. It's a lot about honesty and people just caring about your life. So okay, let's see. How many hours or days do you think someone needs to have in order to tandem safely? Has nothing to do with days or hours. One of my students set the world record. He made tandem instructor level 4 days, baby. Tandem instructor level. And we do not cut corners at all. So he absolutely developed the skills to do that piece by piece. He literally walked up a vertical wall on his second day of super training. And by his third day, you can see him ridge soaring reverse in like 25-mile-an-hour winds off a little sand dune. So he was freaking awesome. He made it in 4 days. Some people might not make it at all, period, ever. If you're 70 years old and weigh 300 pounds and are missing both legs, the odds of you being tandem level are pretty much zero. It's, highly unlikely. But they just come through super training. I will do everything I can to get you personally as far as we can get you. And then the big thing is I'll be honest of where your skill level is. I'm not the guy that's going to get pressured into chucking you in the air because you gave me money. Does not work that way. I'm just you come to me because you wanted someone who told you the truth regardless of what you paid them. So just come to me and we'll do everything we can to get you to that tandem level. There is no other place that's realistically teaching those skills. If you make it to that skill level having trained anywhere else, it was a total fluke and luck over 10 years of practice. So, okay. I thought it's flying worst gear. Yeah, don't fly the worst gear in the world. That's horrible. I'm done 10 times better. People talking crap that really don't care what the truth are. Yankee, dude, you don't have even the most basic skills and you're flying the worst, most deadly gear in history, like what Eric just died on and 2 more people just died on, 19 dead in 1 year on gear like you're flying. You have no place to be talking and trying to, exercise your intelligence. You have none. You don't have the basic skills. You're flying the absolute worst gear. So have a Coke and a smile and shut up and listen to experts. It's just, this is crazy stuff sometimes. It's, I appreciate that people want to share their wisdom, but if you don't have wisdom, this is aviation. People's lives depend on this stuff. What do you think about John Easley? There's one. You got me on that one. John Easley is you. I don't know you too well, John Easley. I have to take a look at your video. I can tell you about your skills, but don't know much about you, so I can't say anything. But I can tell you I love you, because love is not something you can share with one person and not another person. Love is something you either have in your heart for all people, or you really don't know what love is. So I love everyone, but I do tell the truth. Okay, can't wait to get into paramotoring. Dude, take super training or don't get into paramotoring. The big tip for the day. Not wanting for Tucker to die. Yeah, I don't want Tucker to die either, but he's going to have to stop flying the absolute most deadly gear in the world like you are, Yankee. So you're also going to die. It's, you're playing Russian roulette. The odds are the odds. That's what it is. If you're flying a Hoaxflex glider, they call reflex, and a Scout that literally hasn't had a safety update in 40 years of paramotoring, the same injuries, deaths have been happening over and over on that style of gear for 40 years. And these people are still flying and they've never had an update. And it's, you might not die in, the first 100 flights or first 800 flights. But if you take it out to 3,000, 5,000 flights, a lifetime of flying, guaranteed 100% you will die if you fly deadly, gear. That's the way it goes. If you believe in saving people, give Tucker free training. I did. I offered to help Tucker. But, young people, they just don't seem to care about truth or reality. So, yes, I would be happy to help Tucker. I actually wrote him a big note many times saying, dude, look, here's how you do it. And I will be happy to help you. I love you. I will help train you and save your life. Just come to me and I will help you. Yes, ask Tucker to join in your class. That would be legendary. Again, I appreciate the enthusiasm, but you got to realize from experience in the sport, I've done these things. I've tried to help these people over and over and over. But it's like, trying, to talk to someone who voted for Hillary. There is no logic, reason. They're not dealing in facts and reality. They're completely oblivious to facts and reality, which is why they have that problem. So while, yes, I would love to help them, first they have to accept help and just acknowledge reality and truth. Please make new video flying like City. Sport lives or dies. Tucker. No, sport doesn't live or die with Tucker. Tucker is really nobody. He's just a newbie. It just doesn't matter. I mean, Tucker is actually promoting totally incompetent people as instructors, and I run the biggest paramotor school in the world. So it's, people aren't stupid, or at least the people that would get into aviation. You got to be a little smarter. So while people see it, they do look around, and then they end up coming to me. So no, the sport doesn't die with Tucker, because, people are going to look for the best and most competent. At least intelligent people will, and that's me. Why is reflex bad? I have to do a whole new video on that. First of all, there is no such thing as a reflex paraglider. It doesn't exist. Reflex is where the tail end of the wing is tilted up. So if it dives forward to a negative angle of attack, the rear of the wing is pushed down, automatically lifting the front of the wing, raising the angle of attack. That's auto stability. How do you push on a string? You can't. And even if you pushed on the string and it was magic and you could push on it, it would not raise the other string. Pushing one string, they're attached to the same mailon on the riser. So pushing one string down does not make another string go up. Neither does pushing on one side of a bed sheet make the other side of the bed sheet go up. So there is zero reflex to a paraglider. Reflex is the biggest, most deadly scam in the history of the sport. All they're doing when they sell those gliders, I call them hoax flex, because it's a hoax, it's a scam, it's a fraud. There is no reflex, zero reflex to a paraglider. All they're doing is unloading the rear half of the glider. So it'd be just like if you took off an in-flight, you took a knife and you cut off the back two risers. So your C and D risers were just flopping and not even attached. That's what they're doing. That puts all of your load on the front of the glider, which doubles your wing loading. So if you were flying a 24 square meter, well, now you're hanging from 12 square meter. Now, having a higher wing loading, that actually in itself would be a good thing. That's, fun to fly smaller, highly loaded gliders, gives you more stability. But that's not the issue. The issue is by cutting off the back half of the wing, you completely eliminate the wing airfoil shape. And imagine cutting off the back half of a wing of a Cessna. They don't fly properly. You're not making proper lift, so they're horribly inefficient. Next is the aspect ratio, because you got a piece of cloth. If you've got an aspect ratio of, say, 5.5 to 1, and you cut off the back half, all of a sudden your aspect ratio just went to 11 to 1. That's why if you take a collapse, or when you take a collapse with those gliders, they just freak out and you just freaking die. So any glider that they call reflex is a total scam. They are the absolute worst, most deadly gliders in the history of the sport. And anyone flying them is either ignorant or sheerly just idiotic. I mean, how can you even, they don't have any redeeming quality. It's not about opinion. Which glider is faster? Mile per hour is measurable. It's not opinion. If I say the Dominator's faster, well, it did 51 miles an hour. Let's see any of the death traps beat 51 miles an hour. I set the speed record. Let's see them beat the glide ratio. In fact, they suck so bad. Look at the video of the Dominator versus the Nucleon. I put the 16 square meter Dominator just to see how bad those gliders actually glide. The 16 square meter Dominator next to a 29 square meter Nucleon. Trims up, trims down, didn't matter. The 16 square meter had a better glide ratio and a lower sink rate than the 29 square meter Death Trap. So there is zero benefit to a glider that they call Reflex. They are just literally, every characteristic is horrible, total death traps. There's no reason to die. You've got no benefit from them. So no, anyone flying a glider they call Reflex, immediately is completely ignorant of the sport. They don't have a freaking clue for what. Thank you, Dell, for answering my questions. You are most welcome. I care about your life. Friend Gabe bought a Dominator from you, and he swears by it. Yeah, dude, guys that fly Dominators, race me. You want to pretend your Hoax Flex Death Trap is fast? Let's race. Want to put some cash on it? Bring it on. I challenge you. Let's put some cash on it. But, okay, any classes in California? We used to, but now it's in Texas. Missing both legs. So funny. Yeah. What does it cost a student needs to come back for additional training? I don't actually charge. You only pay once at super training. If you're going to rent gear, if you're using my gear, you do have to do a little gear rental. But if you come back with your own gear, we literally don't even charge you, So literally, you can train all you want at super training. You just pay the once. Canada, be an awesome, Dell. Be up way early to catch you tomorrow. If you weigh 350 pounds, what glider and flat top will work? At 350 pounds, you could fly the Dominator extra small. I've literally flown it Tandem. Look up Paramotor World's Smallest Tandem. I'm 190 pounds. I took a 180 pound passenger Tandem on the extra small. So your 350 is nothing. Look up Paramotor 600 pound Tandem. You can watch a 230 pound guy that I trained take a 304 pound passenger Tandem on just a normal sized Dominator with the flat top Ninja. So yeah, 350 pounds, not only can you fly, you could literally take a 300 pound guy Tandem with you. No problem. So give me a shout, we'll get you fixed up. John, have you ever seen Tandem video where they lifted 600 pounds? Oh, yep, he's sharing that video. It's a great video when you just look and then you can watch instead of me just saying it. Send me the link. Anyone who votes for Hillary should not be flying. Flying is reality. There's some to that, the Hillary thing. See, the problem is they're not stupid. People don't really understand, people that would literally vote to destroy their own freedom and vote for socialism. These people are not retarded. They can actually be intelligent people. What it is evil. These are people who are evil. And when they're evil, they literally disregard reality and truth and logic and all that stuff. So it's not that Hillary supporters are stupid, because a lot of them are very intelligent. The problem is they're evil, and so they've thrown out all reality and facts and all that stuff. I mean, who the freak in their right mind's gonna vote for socialism? Well, not even a retard is gonna pretend, to know all the facts and pretend that a doctor doesn't know what they're doing. Doesn't work that way. Mentally retarded people are actually quite loving and kind and generally quite honest. Those who would vote for Hillary are just freaking evil. And so that's the problem. So you have to address them on a good versus evil type of thing. It's just kind of, there you go. Tip for the day. There you go. Lots of experience. Can't share this video. Sertel 7600. Yep, there you go. Does the Salt Lake City inversion affect you down where you live? Dudes, the inversion is the freaking coolest time to fly. It's awesome. If you see a day where it's ugly and gray and foggy and yucky on the ground, dude, you pop up above that and it's blue skies and sunshine. Look up paramotor inversion and watch some of my flights and inversions. It's some of the most incredible thing you've ever seen. So heck yeah, do I fly during the inversion. It's awesome. But that's an hour and a half and my voice is almost gone. So I better get off. I will hope to jump back on tomorrow at about 3 o'clock is the plan. We're going to go flying and see if we can't chit chat with you. Super training, East Coast, blah, 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 blah. No, that's a very common question. Hey, can you do super training here, there, the other? The location that you train is absolutely critical. Think about this. You're going to need between 25 and 60 hours of actual glider control practice. If you try and train in upstate New York in some farmer's field, it would take you 2 years to try and get 60 hours of actual glider control practice. Where at the perfect beach in Texas, we could get that many in 6 days, 6-7 days, and you got your 60 hours or 25 to 60 hours. So the location that you train is so critical that it's worth traveling to the perfect location. Keep in mind, I drive 1,500 miles from Utah all the way to Texas to do the training. If I could train in Utah, you can bet your butt I wouldn't be driving 1,500 miles. But if I tried to train people in Utah, it just flat out doesn't work. You just don't get the hours in. That's why Joe Jimmy Bob training in some farmer's field, darn well he's training people, because there's no possible way that in their 3 to 5 day class are you going to get squat for actual hours of practice. So if you want to get into the sport, you just have to make it happen. You got to come out to the perfect location at that beach, fly in to where we can get that boatload of hours, and you can become a real actual pilot and do it in a reasonable amount of time instead of have it drag on forever, or you get chucked into the sky without even the most basic skills. So super training, only way to go. All right, I am going to sign off. I will see you guys tomorrow, hopefully around 3 o'clock. That's the plan. Appreciate you joining me here on my first try with live YouTube. Hey, the light finally came on. Now it comes on. Okay, all right. Guys tomorrow. Hey, appreciate all your comments. Appreciate all your support. Love you guys. You follow my advice. I promise you from the bottom of my heart, you will become an incredibly skilled pilot in the safest possible way. Follow my advice. And it is not because I want to make money. That's just the honest truth. I know, double check what I say. Look at the skills. If you follow my advice, you come train with me, you fly the gear that I know from years and years and years of experience is truly the best and safest, then you will become like, other people who have followed that same advice. 0 people in all of history have died doing it my way on my gear. 0. So the track record is pretty freaking good. Actually, it's kind of ridiculously good. I mean, to have 0 deaths is it's unheard of. So, you're not just protected by the best gear and the best training, but, God likes those people who, support people who follow him. So that's the way it goes. Anyway, appreciate you guys. Nighty night. See you tomorrow, hopefully around 3. Thanks.